Dallas has just been on a tear. I believe we can attribute that to Jason Robertson. Also, Jake Ottinger, who's really stepped in.
Yeah, so we can compare a rookie QB to a toddler. Hayward's absence for this game will be significant, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game turns into a blowout as of late.
The Golden Knights just can't pull it. I really think the Avalanche are determined this year.
They made so many moves and grabbed so many guys that they have to win a championship or at least make the finals. They were on our championship and bust.
The same self, the only year he won an MVP was the year he cheated, which really should put something against that MVP. But
yeah, and as a Cowboys fan, I have learned how dangerously good Aaron Rodgers has been with he can just thread a pass.
Hello, I am Ruby Ackerman, and you are listening to Outsider's Opinion with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week, Part 2. We had a little 10-minute version on the AFC Championship. We just got talking about the Mahomes, Brady, great conversation, and also the game because we want to talk about Lamar Jackson. And now we're going to go on the NFC Championship because we didn't want to go too long. And the man that made the right call there, unlike there was no controversial calls in the recording studio. There were on the football field in the Rams, or I don't know why I said Rams, Niners, Lions. Austin.
Yeah. What a game. What a comeback by the 49ers. I was really rooting for the Lions, partially because I wanted my prediction to be right, but also it was a good story. But it was the second half. It was just, I know you disagree with how many times it probably Dave Campbell went for, but he gets those. If he just gets one of the two, it's talked about in a different light. And if you go for it once, you have to go for it twice. You don't go for it once not to go for it again.
I think other people are watching are don't go for it. I understand going for it too, and yeah, it was a great game. I wasn't really rooting for either team, but once the Lions got up, I'm like, please don't let them blow this. I was rooting for them because that's got to be a huge gut punch to the Lions fans. But yeah, back to the call. My biggest call or thing that I'm upset with is running at the 1 yard line and having to use your third timeout. Because even with all the field goals or non-field goals going for it, you lost the timeout. If they should have passed it, and
they should have passed it. But I do agree. No, listen. I do agree with you that they shouldn't have called a timeout.
They shouldn't have used the timeout.
I think, we got to get to the line. Okay, here's my plan. Here's the plan. Mm-hmm. Okay. On third down, we're going to run the ball. I'm Jared Goff. We're going to run the ball. If we get stopped, this is our play. So we get to the line, we're hiking this immediately to go again. That should have been what it was. I'm fine running it on third down. That is the problem.
Or you could have run it on second down. Run it, try to go. See, because that would have caught them off guard. Then you spike it on third. Then you have time to do.
You want 4 chances. You want 4 chances at the end zone. I would have rather done what I said, and maybe you do waste some time. Fair. And maybe there's 50 seconds left because you don't use a timeout. Let's say 45 seconds. But 45 seconds with 3 timeouts, plenty of time. If you get the ball, let's say they punt it, right? You have the ball. You scored a touchdown. You only need 45 seconds to go down the field with no timeouts isn't impossible at all.
And you just need a field goal to tie it.
Yeah, well, okay, let's say actually, a field goal to tie it. They run all their plays. Maybe you get the ball back with 35 seconds. Even 35 seconds, as long as you get out of bounds, and even 1, maybe 2 passes inbounds could be okay. And like you said, you need a field goal. You just get 60-yarder in prayers. But that's a better chance than nothing.
Yeah, I personally would have kicked the field goal one of the times, but that's Dan Campbell, like you said, that's who he is. If going off, that's who Dan Campbell is, you cannot use that third timeout because you have to plan for, all right, we're going to stop them 3 times. I'm going to use 3 timeouts. Our offense is going to get the ball. That's my biggest thing in that whole situation was the third timeout or the lack of a third timeout because they did stop them both times. after they failed to get the onside kick.
Yeah, but it didn't matter because
Yeah, it didn't matter because they didn't have a third timeout.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm upset with. But yeah, no, Dan Campbell is an aggressive coach, and it did get them there. I was reading that too. He did get them there, no matter what. Even with all the aggressiveness, he believed in his team. It's just, man, the Lions' start was incredible. Just the way they seemed ready for that game. But credit to the Niners. And Brock Purdy did have some good throws. There were also some bad throws. There was one where he escaped the pocket and then got a diving U-check, which was a great play. Dude, that pass to Ayuk was crazy to see, and just I think sums up the game for the Lions. Don't you think?
Sums up the game for the Lions is the third down and having to use your timeout. I think that's just you're so close but so far at the same time. And if you score that, there's a minute 10 left. Like if you score in that rushing play, there's a minute 10 left to do 3 timeouts. Hey, we're not just in this thing. We are like, this is it.
Whoa. I was also thinking from like the defender almost had it, like the Lions almost had the trophy, and then it just ended, and then the luck went to the Niners. And the Niners took it away on that
Calling
pass.
it luck. We have a friend that calls it luck, and it's like, did you not watch the Super Bowl with Russell Wilson? Did no one call it luck when was it Javon Curse?
Yeah, no, wasn't it? Was it Curse? I thought
Jermaine Curse. It's Jermaine Curse. Jermaine Curse. It was Curse. I knew it was Curse. I was trying to
okay, it was Curse. I thought it was a different guy, but yeah, Curse.
Jermaine Curse, David Tyree, Mario Manningham. Like these are crazy play. Edelman in the Patriots Super Bowl. Edelman in the Patriots Super Bowl against the Falcons.
Yeah, that's another one.
Stuff happens, man. Like it just. It's a crazy catch. Is that one catch lucky? Sure. But that stuff happens. You can't fumble with Gibbs. Gibbs can't fumble. Like, that's the play.
Oh, yeah. That's another key one. It just seemed to spiral apart. And this was the first game where the Niners came back when trailing by 10 or plus points. That there was that rule, which was a knock on Shanahan, knock on the quarterbacking, because Purdy had never dealt with a lead or never played behind, but he did do that in the Packers game and do that against the Niners. The Niners, I don't think, have played their best game in the playoffs yet because they struggled against the Packers. Then they found a way to get by with a win by pulling it together in that final drive. And then they found a way to come back in the second half.
That's true. It was just such a disappointing end to the Lions season, and I wish I would have saw a better second half. I was wanting the next Jared Goff would have been the first QB since Jim Kelly to lose their first Super Bowl and make it to another Super Bowl, but we're going to have to wait.
Yeah, and I don't think you can really blame him. There were some bad passes, but that fourth down pass was right to Reynolds in the hands, and Reynolds couldn't come up with it.
The whole thing about the whole don't go for it on fourth down, the play worked, man. It worked. Mm-hmm. You can't. I don't blame coach. That's not coaching. Like players play, you got to make the decision as a coach, and when it works, that doesn't necessarily mean it works. If that makes sense. Like he was open, but it just didn't connect.
Yeah, I would have maybe kicked it when the Niners were up, but you do say the point, like you can't go for it once and a half, or you got to go for it both times. If you do that,
because you're not. My point behind that is like your fourth down percentage, like your conversion rate on fourth down is never going to be 100%. So to go for it once, okay, can we get it 50%? That's why when they're down 14, teams go for it the first time. They go for it the first time and then they go for it again. The whole logic is we just got to be 50%. But if we get it on the first one, we don't have to do it on the second one. But as long as we're 50%, if we think we can get a 50% rate at 2-point conversion and the same thing on fourth down, we're fine.
Yeah, and it's just, for me, if you're going to keep that, if you're going to go for it both fourth times, you cannot have it. You can't use you have to have 3 timeouts, which they had the opportunity to do. They just decided to run it on third down. So that's my big thing. And then on to the Niners. I'm trying. This, I think, is probably a huge game in Kyle Shanahan's career.
True, but it's not going to matter until he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's not going to matter. But it does make it more complicated to have that conversation. Because you're like, hey, he's terrible at game management or coming back. So I think you can say the same for Purdy, even though Purdy, he did just enough. He did make some pretty throws, and it was just the type of players. But yeah, it's a gut punch for the Lions, and man, what a way to end the season. That's terrible for them. I am glad it became a game. Well, was it a game or was it just two different halves for each team?
I don't know. It's really hard to know what is going through a player's head and how it affects how they play. I don't really know. It was a better second half by the Niners, but at the same time, the Lions got in their own way with the fumbles and non-fourth down conversions. Did the Lions actually play worse, or did their conversion rate just go down? That drop by Reynolds and the fumble by Gibbs are really the two plays that killed them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that let the Niners get into, and I guess there's a debate about momentum not being real. I think momentum is for sure a thing, and that's what we saw. The Niners got momentum. It could have been getting that stop, getting Reynolds dropping that pass, or getting a touchdown, then getting that fumble. Momentum helps describe the player's confidence during a game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Especially important at this time of the year.
Yeah, there are moments, and if you don't capitalize on those moments, like if you're Dan Campbell and you're thinking about those fourth downs, what happens if you do get that fourth down? He catches the ball and you go get another touchdown. What is it? It's back up to a 21-point
It'd
lead?
be 21 points. Like the game is like
that's the
in
knockout
jeopardy.
punch.
Yeah, I don't know about knockout punch, but very close to it.
Yeah. That's my view sometimes and I think Dan Campbell is probably even worse or even farther down that hole is like, I can get a huge hit right here. And then there was a bounce back. I don't think he calculates that enough correctly. I think he's more focused on what if this works, not what if this doesn't work. I think that's important.
Win. You gotta try not people. Okay, Dan Campbell tries to win. A lot of coaches try not to lose.
Yes.
You get the difference? I
get the difference.
I'm going to take it, not I'm going to prevent you from taking it from me.
And that's like, it has worked for him. The Lions have gotten better. The thing I would criticize is you got to understand, as a coach, you got to understand both sides. All right, I'm going for the win here, but also I got to be prepared if this doesn't work. And am I willing to take that risk?
The only mistake Dave Campbell really made was the third down run and timeout, in my opinion. I don't hate going for it. You got to go for it sometimes. I'm not against it.
It could have gone different too. This is Monday quarterbacking, literally. If he gets both of them, man, what a aggressive play!
Yeah, they scored a touchdown on both, and they win this game by 11 or 12.
They dominated,
or whatever. And
my only thing is that's my critique of Dan Campbell as a coach. I think he gets too focused on the win.
Yeah. My problem is as fans, we are so results based.
Yes,
we're okay if it works, great. If it doesn't, you're bad. That's not how life works.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a good decision and it not work. Again, it hit Josh Reynolds in the hands. Like, I don't know what. You can't tell me that Ben Johnson made the wrong play call. You can't tell me that Dave Campbell made the wrong decision to go for it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Because it worked. And working doesn't mean you catch the ball. If the guy gets open and the pass is made, like, it worked. You just got to execute. That's what it comes down to, execution. Again, if MVS had dropped that ball for the Chiefs instead of Josh Reynolds dropping this, we're having a whole other conversation. If the Chiefs lose that game because of that, somehow Lamar and then drive down the field, score a touchdown, go for two, get it, and they win the game. We'll Mahomes only scored 17 points, 0 points in the second half. Oh, he all these negative things. But instead he won, and now everyone's talking like he's the GOAT. So it's the whole conversation of results based on actual principle. You have to be like, okay, I'm going to give you a scenario, not from a game, just a random scenario. Do you go for it? Now we're getting your actual opinion, not, oh, did he get it or not?
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, it's not based on. I'll give you a perfect example. Do you remember the 2022 conference finals game? Was it 6 or 7? Game 6. Heat versus Celtics. I think it was game 7 actually.
Okay. I see what we're saying. Heat versus Celtics.
Do you remember what happened at the end of that game at all?
Wait, we're 2022. So is this last year?
This is the year the Celtics made the finals.
Yeah. So would this be the Duncan Robinson? Oh, I don't think I.
It was game 7. It was game 7.
Was this the Duncan Robinson foot on the line?
No, this is Jimmy Butler makes a decision. Okay.
Okay.
I'll go by play really quickly. So at the end of the game is they're coming back. They were down 96-85. Coming back. Max Strus hits a 3. Marcus Smart with 21 seconds left misses a layup. Jimmy Butler gets the rebound and takes a 3 with 16 seconds left. No set play at all. I'm just taking this shot. Misses it, and now they have to foul, and they end up losing the game by 4 points. Is it cooking a bell now or no?
I don't think I think I could not watch this game. I think I was at a camp.
Okay, I'll have to show you the play at some further time.
Yeah,
but my point is, people were like, oh, Jimmy was hot. Jimmy had 35, 9, and 8 this game. Jimmy was hot. I'm fine with him taking that shot. I'm not. And it's not results-based. It's Jimmy is not a good three-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking a fading 3. Like, let's just settle down for a second. The Celtics were losing, this run that the Heat were on was allowing the Heat to come back. The Heat just needed to slow down, and they didn't, and they ended up costing. But it's I just don't like that shot because of who he is and the momentum that the other team had. But in the Lions example, the Lions are based on going for it.
Yes.
And you can't change that in an NFC Championship game or your players won't buy in. So, I look, it didn't work out, but I don't think going for it on 4th down is a big problem. It's the timeout at the very end of the game. That's the only decision I have issue with.
Yeah, I can see your point. I understand it, and it's Dan Campbell. Yeah, the biggest thing to me is like, okay, you've done all that, and now you're losing your 3rd timeout because then you're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you can't stop them. And then that goes in an onside kick rule, and maybe we can do that in the off season. I wish they do something to what the XFL or UFL hopefully does is give the team an option. You don't have to make it like 20%. I want it more than 1%, which is what the onside kick rule, which the way it is now, that's the only way. It's less than 1% that a team gets it. I want a little bit more percentage for them to actually believe, okay, this can actually work statistically. So
I get it, but I don't know how to change it without doing like the 4th and 15.
Yeah, no, I think you have to do like 4th and I'd go 18, make it weird.
Or no, it'd have to be 4th and 15 because you're kicking it off from the 35, right? And I get to the 50.
Oh, I would just do it, boom, 18 yards, then you start at the 25 or 35.
I just think it's where the kickoff happens.
Okay.
And you get to go for it instead of punting it, basically.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I just want something to where it's not too easy to get, but it's easier to get than 1%. Because whenever I see an onside kick, I'm like, all right, you have to be incredibly dumb to not recover this ball if you're the opposing team. Like the Atlanta Falcons were against the Cowboys. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, a player can grab the ball at any time. The kicking team has to wait 10 yards. The Atlanta Falcon player thought you had to wait 10 yards So once it got to 10 yards, the Cowboys player picked it up, and they got it. I think they kicked the game-winning field goal. So that's my opinion, but yeah, even with the third timeout. But that's all I got. I'll let you close this one out, and make sure to check out all our other Chiefs video. That was fun, and really, we ended the conversation that shouldn't be happening, or Austin ended it. I stood by and listened. And
thank you guys for listening. Please catch us in our next one, and let us know who you got in the Super Bowl. Thank you again.